Welcome to Collecting Chaos. I've decided that my talking points videos and my grading comics videos are going to be one and the same. And there's a good reason for that. Basically, all of the grading comics are talking points anyway. Now, we're going to talk about a few subjects, but the first one is buying comics, and we're going to talk about buying comics on eBay. Now, the comics I have shown here, I did not get on eBay, and these are for a later portion of the video. But I figured you might want something to look at, and what's better for the X-Men fans out there is Uncanny Origins and Cyclops, right? Now, you can get some good deals on eBay, don't get me wrong. I like eBay. I spend quite a bit of money there, and you can make some money on eBay too. But there are a few problems. The biggest problem is the subjectivity of grading and having to decide based on pictures if you should purchase or not, because people don't want to assign a grade to a comic for fear that somebody's going to say, you said this was very fine to near mint and it's only very fine minus and I want my money back. You know, and that's crap. That's not a good way to go. And the pictures generally aren't that good a quality. Now, there are people that'll show a single comic and they'll use the full complement of pictures and try to show you every little defect on the cover. They rarely show the inside pages. But that's another story, and that's for another video. So, yeah, when the people do that, you're probably pretty safe buying from them. If someone has a comic for sale and it says stock image, I don't buy it. I do not buy stock image comics. There are a few companies that I will buy from that use stock images because I know that stock image is one of the comics that they own and that they put it up themselves. One of them is Mile High Comics, and you can say that they're too expensive, but the guy's got everything. Anything you want, he's probably got it. And he's probably got it in near mint condition, and he'll put a stock image up there that he's scanned himself, but it's to represent like 30 or 40 of the same thing, and they're all in the same condition. So I don't have a problem generally with him, and he's been in business long enough that if he says it's near mint, you can pretty much take it to the bank. So, I do have a rule of thumb for general eBay sellers. If they say a comic is near mint, I assume it's fine or better. If somebody says it's very fine, I assume it's very good or better. Basically, I consider whatever the seller says that it's going to be 2 grades lower than that. And then I can happily be surprised if it's exactly what they say it is. But that's how I look at it, and that way I'm very rarely disappointed, and I almost never overpay. So once I decide what I'm going to bid, then I put the bid in. And we'll talk about the bidding process in a little while. Now, I like buying lots of comics. And when I say lots, I mean 20, 30 comics at a time or more. I have bought lots as many as 100. And I just like doing that. But when they do that, just don't even pay attention to the grade. See if there's something that you want there and bid accordingly. Figure the comics are going to be mid-grade or lower, and make up your bid that way. That's what I do, and I win an awful lot of them. So they might have pictures, usually of 5 comics at a time, possibly more. And the chances are it's just going to be that way. You're just going to have to deal with the low quality pictures. So just look for titles that you want, or maybe issues that you want, and select what you want that way. Once you've decided, okay, I want this, figure out how much you're willing to pay for it. As a rule of thumb, anything after about 1984, I'm not willing to go over $3 a piece. That's about what a new comic costs, so I'm not willing to pay that for an older comic. I'm not willing to go over that for a comic that's published after 1984. Because most comics published after 1984 are available to collectors, and they were sold in comic stores. So, yeah, $3 a piece, I'm willing to go that high easy. So once I decide how much I'm going to pay, then I figure out the tax rate. So let's say I find 25 comics and they're $3, and I want to pay $3 a piece for them. I don't want to go over $3 a piece. But the guy's charging $9 shipping. So instead of offering 75, I'm going to offer 66. But there's another problem. See, eBay's charging tax. So now I've got to do 75 minus 9, which is 66. And unfortunately, the example that I wrote down, I miswrote it and had 64 instead of 66. Oh well. So basically you divide the amount after or before shipping. In other words, you've subtracted shipping, it's now $66. You divide that by 1 plus your tax rate. In my case, my tax rate's 8.25%, so I would divide by 1.0825. And this will give you the amount that you're willing to bid. So in the example I wrote down, it was 3 times 25, which is 75, minus 9, which I put down 64, and that's where I made my subtraction error. Divide that by 1.0825, and I come up with $60.97. So $60.97 is the most that I would want to bid on those comics. And that's what I put in. I don't need to wait. I don't need to try to snipe it. $60 or $61, we'll say, rounded up, is the most I'm willing to pay. And if it goes over that, I just don't care. I don't want them bad enough to go higher than that. So let's say I win it for $30. Now I got to play the waiting game, because it might be a case of the guy didn't really want to sell it that cheap, so he wants to wait and see if you're going to not send or to cancel the bid, which you can cancel it if he hasn't shipped them yet. And maybe he's hoping you'll do that and he won't have to sell it that low. But you pay $1.69 for those comics. Yeah, just wait. They'll come in. They'll show up eventually. I have noticed that some eBay sellers will get you a tracking number as soon as, the same day that you pay for something you bought. And then it'll be 7 or more days before they actually ship it out. And that's where, maybe they're pissed, or maybe they don't want to ship it, or maybe there's something personal going on that prevents them from making it to wherever they need to ship it from. Or maybe they're just, I don't know. It doesn't matter. I just wait. I wait the time, I get the comics, I'm happy. Now let's talk about people that are actually doing the selling on eBay. If you're selling on eBay and you don't want to sell something cheap, don't start the bidding low. If you're selling 30 comics and you want $30 for a minimum, don't start the bidding at $6. Because if you start the bidding at $6, there's a good chance that you're going to have to sell those comics for 20 cents a piece instead of the $1 a piece you want to get for them. Now, if you got $30 on 30 comics and it's something I'm interested in, I'm going to look at them and I'm still going to bid. and I will probably end up bidding, you know, I might bid $90 on them. But if you list it for $6 and no one bids against me, I'm going to pay $6 plus tax and shipping. And that's it. That's all I'm paying. If you start it at $30, you'll at least get the $30 you want out of it. So don't undercut yourself. Put down what you want to bid. And that's all I've got to say about eBay for right now. Just wanted to let you know, if you like my content, make sure you put a like on it. Subscribe if you're not subscribed, if you like it. And go ahead and hit the bell so that you know when I put out a new video. I'm trying to get to where I'm doing a video on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursday. That's going to be my goal. Whether it happens or not, I don't know. But that's my goal. It'll be Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday will be my regular schedule. And if I have something to show for mail, then it'll be on a Saturday. So, yeah, like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the bell. And while you're at it, why don't you tell your friends about me? Next thing I want to start talking about is buying comics at a convention on the cheap. Now, this is an assortment of comics I have here that it's the kind of stuff that I would sometimes see in convention boxes. And I'm not talking about the stuff that's on the top of the table that people are looking to sell and get premiums for. I'm talking about the stuff they put under the table. The stuff you got to squat down to look at. The random stuff, it could be 25 cents a piece, 50 cents a piece, 2 for $1, 3 for $1. It could be, you know, 3 for $5. Whatever their discount prices are, that's what we're looking at. And this is the kind of stuff you would see, and this is the way you might see it. There's Uncanny Origins featuring Cyclops. When I'm looking at this stuff, I pull it out real quick, and then I have a little stack, and then I go through it. And of course, the first thing I do is I run my fingers down the spine. What I'm checking for is dents. And then I'll take the comic and I'll look at it like this, at an oblique angle, and I'm looking for dents. And then I turn the comic over and I take a look at it to make sure there's no folds, and sometimes a comic will be in a bag and the back corner will be folded up like that because somebody didn't pay attention. And then of course I open it up and look at the pages and see if they are, you know, what kind of condition they're in. Are they supple? Or are they a little dry from being wet at one point? Are they wrinkled? As you can see, this has nice white pages, and you know, I haven't read this comic since 1996 when it came out. This is Uncanny Origins featuring Cyclops #1 from September 1996. Yeah. It was one of their 99-cent comics, and it was actually printed on newsprint, which was kind of cool. Just shows they could do it. Here's Thunderbolts #4 from July of 97. Now see, this one is in a backing board, and you could find these also, because a lot of times what happens is, and you can still, even with the backing board on it, you can still run your thumb down and you'll feel little dents if they're there. Like this one has a stress line right in this area, and you can, you know, dealers, and I used to do it because I owned a comic book store for 7 years. And what I do, I get a bunch of comics that I really wasn't that interested in pricing or anything, and I just dump them in a dollar box or a quarter box or whatever. Actually, I dump them in a dollar box, and then about a month later, they'd go in a 50-cent box, and a month after that, they'd go in a quarter box. And if they still didn't sell, they generally got donated or went to a convention. Savage Dragon. This is from February. This is number 58 from February of 1999. And again, white pages. A little bit better quality paper. Same thing, front, back, interior. I'm not worried about bindery defects or anything like that. I'm just looking at, you know, I'm looking for very fine comics or better, because you got to assume that they're not going to be, you know, you got a bindery defect, you got a little dent here. I'm not being too super critical on this. This is number 55, and I think this was from 1998. Yep, 1998, November 1998. Logan's Run, number 5. I only tossed this one in here because all the rest of my Logan's Run comics. Now here's a good example. See, I can feel the little crease there, even though this is in a bag and board. I can feel a little crease here. You look at it oblique, you can see it. Take them out of the bag. These are cheap comics. The guy's not going to care if you take it out of the bag. He really isn't. I never did, not on a cheap comic. It's a little dirty. Still, off-white pages. Still, I would consider this a good candidate for very fine or better condition. I'm not going to put it back in the bag because it's going to go to my light. Cobra number 2 from DC Comics. Same thing. Run your fingers down there. See what you can find. This one's got some problems down here, some problems up here. Little nick in the page. See, I can see this stuff at a glance. These are light tan pages, so definitely off-white. Here's a little trick. See this white area here? Compare that with the edge. Whatever the edge is compared to that is what the actual condition of the pages are. These are supple pages, light tan supple pages. I use cream to describe things a lot, and that's a mistake. I shouldn't. Again, King Conan. The bag is rippled. Makes the comic look horrible. That's one of the reasons why I'm going to my lights, because I hate that. So the option is, look at that. Look at how bad that is. The option is to change the bags every 3 to 5 years, or go to my light. I'm going to go to my light because it's going to be cheaper in the long run. King Conan 18. It's got an issue down here on the back cover that you can't see from the front. See, it's got a pretty bad dent there. Pages are off-white. Nice artwork though. Gotta like that artwork. Who is that? Sima or Severin? Nebris. I could have sworn this back here was Sima, but I guess not. I like Conan. I liked the original stories too. This one I included, and I'm sorry I didn't find this for Halloween. I like this cover a lot. This is just a cool, yeah, you talk about Batman who laughs, take a look at this cover. Let me bring it a little closer. Yeah. This is a later comic on higher quality paper. The pages are going to be white. On the high quality comics, the high quality paper, if the pages aren't white, there is a serious problem. Still, a definite candidate for very fine. There's a Captain Atom, number 12. Again, you can feel the dent in the back just by running your fingers down. This one has quite a few dents in it. Tape. We hate tape. This is how I deal with tape. No chance it'll hurt the comic if it's way down there. I've pissed off a few dealers that way though. This comic is a little dirty. You couldn't see that in the bag. This is Captain Atom number 12. It's got some definite spine creases. on the back and front. Pages are nice though. Pages are white. So it's in nice shape. Definitely a very fine minus, maybe fine to very fine or very fine minus, and that would definitely be a candidate for something you might want to buy. There's a Tarzan 237. It's got multiple spine creases. It's got a bad dent right there. It looks like that's actually a tear all the way through the comic. Off-white pages. Not bad for May of 1975 though, except for that tear. I guess I'll have to look for a replacement of that one. Thor 256. Now you're going to look at me and go, Thor, wait a minute. We're getting into more expensive, older stuff. Not really. Thor is common. Yeah, I know you saw what was underneath it. Tan to off-white pages. Lots of dents and dings. I could see this being in a dollar box fairly easily. X-Men 137. Now you go, no way I'd find that in a dollar box. Not true. And I'm going to explain why. Now this comic is complete, but I used to salt my dollar boxes and my quarter boxes with really nice copies, and this is a very nice copy, easily very fine, off-white pages. I've decided that there's no more off-white to white. It's either white or it's off-white. If you compare the white on the Watcher with the side, you can see this is a creamier color, so that's definitely an off-white page. Really nice shape for a comic. So, and this is square bound, and the binding is definitely square. Now here's something, remember I told you before, the older square bound had the staple going all the way through? You can see that here. The reason I would do that, I'd go to a comic convention or something like that, and I'd salt the boxes with really nice comics, you know, not all at once. I just drop one in once in a while. And it would make people go through those boxes because they'd go back and say, wow, look what I got out of this guy's 50-cent bin. He must not know what he's selling. And I would blow out the 50-cent comics like crazy when other people could barely sell any 25-cent ones. And yeah, I'd lose a little money on the expensive comic, but when you figure I got rid of all that other stuff that was worth nothing to me, yeah, it made a difference. There's a Superman Man of Steel from May of 1997 with tape on it. I can't complain about the person that put that tape on it because it was me. This was one of the ones that I actually had in my store. Okay, the video shut off on me at some point. I have no idea where. I guess I got to go back and rewatch what was done so I can pick it up, or I can just close it out here. Take a look at the comics, the low price comics when you go to a convention. Most of the Tomb of Dracula I have, I paid 20 to 25 cents a piece for, and all of them came out of the cheap boxes with the exception of Tomb of Dracula number 50, I think it is, whatever the last issue was. Everything else I got dirt cheap. Of course, I was buying them when nobody was really cared about it. But yeah, just go back and take a look at and take a chance. You know, what you're picking up is you're looking for very fine or better comics. And these are comics that have a minimum number of defects on them. I would actually rate this one as near mint to mint. Matter of fact, that's what I'm going to rate it at. We'll go very fine to near mint. It's got a pretty bad dent here on the corner. But like I said, just look for the best quality comics in what you can find there, and maybe you'll pick up a few. Be willing to experiment. Be willing to try a few that you've been thinking about maybe reading, but you haven't yet, because you might find something that you really like, and you found it cheap. So that's going to be about all for today, and I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope I helped you out a little bit, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye.